Oh, the humanity! The skies have darkened, the foundations of the Commonwealth are quaking, and somewhere in the fever swamps of royalist delusion, a cadre of keyboard warriors is clutching their pearls so tightly they're turning into cheap plastic beads. Yes, folks, the latest apocalypse has descended. Prince Harry and Meghan Sussex dared to show up at a baseball game. Not just any game, mind you. The 2025 World Series Game 4, where the Los Angeles Dodgers were duking it out with the New York Yankees. The Sussexes, those eternal thorns in the side of the Crown's crumbling facade, plopped themselves down in a private suite, donned some matching Dodgers gear, and had the audacity to enjoy themselves. Gasp, the betrayal, the treason, the utter gall of two people who stepped away from the gilded cage to actually live like humans. Enter the derangers, those sad sack obsessives who wake up each morning with a single mission to spin every Sussex sneeze into a Shakespearean tragedy. These are the folks who treat Harry and Meghan like they're the Antichrist duo, plotting world domination one charity event at a time. And now, baseball. Of all the diabolical schemes, the headlines they're churning out from their dimly lit basements, because let's face it, that's where most of this drivel originates, are a masterclass in absurdity. Harry and Meghan booed at Dodger Stadium, the ultimate snub. They screech, as if a smattering of half-drunk fans yelling at a jumbotron somehow equates to the fall of Western civilization. Newsflash, you frantic fanatics. Nobody was booing the Sussexes. The crowd was too busy chugging beers and cheering for home runs to give a damn about your imported grudges. But why let facts ruin a perfectly good meltdown? Let's dissect this nonsense, shall we? Because if there's one thing the derangers excel at, it's hypocrisy served with a side of desperation. These are the same clowns who spent years bleating about how the Sussexes abandoned their royal duties, quitting the firm like it was a toxic job with 0 vacation days. Traitors, they howled, conveniently forgetting that Harry and Meghan were hounded out by a media machine that treated Meghan like a witch to be burned at the stake. Racism. Nah, just concern about her diva demands, right? Fast forward to 2025, and the Sussexes are finally free, jetting to Montecito, launching Archewell initiatives that actually help people, and oh yeah, popping into a ballpark for a night out. And what's the crime? Supporting the Dodgers, in Los Angeles, where they live. It's like accusing a New Yorker of rooting for the Mets because they're breathing Yankee air, pure, unadulterated stupidity. But the derangers? They're in full froth mode, twisting this into some grand geopolitical affront. How dare they cheer for the Yanks' rivals when Canada is in the mix? One particularly unhinged rant goes, as if the Blue Jays were fielding a squad of maple leaf martyrs, instead of a bunch of pros swinging for the fences. Harry, born in jolly old England, and Meghan Sussex, the California girl through and through, picking the home team. Perish the thought. It's a betrayal of the Commonwealth, they whine, ignoring that the Commonwealth is a loose club of nations more interested in trade deals than who wins the 7th inning stretch. These haters would have you believe that every crack of the bat is a referendum on colonial loyalty, with Harry and Meghan as the Benedict Arnolds of base paths. Give me a break. If cheering for the Dodgers is treason, then half of LA should be in stocks by now. And the envy? It's dripping off every syllable like sweat from a loser's brow. Picture it. Harry and Meghan Sussex, radiant in their casual chic, her in a sleek Dodgers cap that screams, "I'm here to have fun," him grinning like a guy who's finally escaped the suffocating spotlight of Buckingham Palace. They're laughing, munching on stadium snacks, high-fiving over a grand slam. Meanwhile, the derangers are hunched over their laptops, pounding out 2,000-word screeds on why this frolic proves the Sussexes are out-of-touch elites. Out of touch? Says the brigade who thinks attending a World Series is akin to Marie Antoinette playing shepherdess. These critics couldn't afford the nosebleed seats, let alone the luxury suite. Yet they're the ones lecturing on appropriateness. Pot, meat kettle, both black as your bitter hearts. Hypocrisy doesn't even begin to cover it. Remember when the working royals, those paragons of public service supposedly, parade around at sports events on the taxpayer's dime? Prince William, future king and all, schmoozing at Wimbledon like it's his personal fiefdom, or jetting off to the Rugby World Cup finals, courtesy of the sovereign grant. Billions funneled into pomp and circumstance so he can clap for a try and pose for the cameras. No booze there, oh no. The press laps it up as duty, engagement, vital for the monarchy's image. But Harry and Meghan Sussex, private citizens footing their own bill for a Dodgers game, suddenly it's a scandal. Why aren't they supporting British sports? The derangers demand, as if the Sussexes owe their every waking hour to an institution that chewed them up and spat them out. It's the height of entitlement. You can't have it both ways, you grasping gits. Either the royals are free agents post-step back, or they're indentured servants for life. Pick a lane and spare us the whiplash. Delve deeper into the deranger psyche, and it's a cesspool of desperation. These aren't casual critics, they're cultists, hooked on the Sussexes like junkies chasing a fix. Their entire online persona revolves around trashing Harry and Meghan. It's their bread and butter, their sad little claim to relevance. Without the duo to demonize, what are they? Just another anonymous troll in a sea of irrelevance. So they curate these fairy tales of downfall, booed out of the stadium, hiding in shame, the crowd's silent judgment, all fabricated from whole cloth because the truth, that the Sussexes were cheered, applauded even for their star power, shatters their fragile worldview. It burns them that Harry and Meghan Sussex look happier than they've ever been, unscripted, unburdened, utterly themselves. No tiaras or titles weighing them down, just genuine joy in a shared moment. That freedom? It's poison to the derangers, who chain themselves to grudges like their Olympic weights. Let's call it what it is, pathetic. These story spinners aren't journalists, they're fanfic writers gone rogue, churning out alternate realities where the Sussexes are perpetually punished. They nitpick the hats, matching gear. How tacky, as if fashion police were summoned to Dodger Stadium. They dissect body language like conspiracy theorists poring over Zapruder film. See that smile? It's forced, proof of their misery. Meanwhile, the actual footage, if these blind bats bothered to watch, shows a couple in sync, alive with the electric buzz of the game. The derangers' tales are so flimsy, they collapse under a stiff breeze of reality. And for what? Clicks? Retweets? A fleeting dopamine hit from fellow travellers in toxicity. It's a vicious cycle. Hate begets more hate, until their lives are as barren as the outfield after a rain delay. Psychologists have a term for this, schadenfreude on steroids, laced with projection. The derangers project their own failures onto the Sussexes, unfulfilled dreams of glamour, resentment toward the successful, a bone-deep insecurity that screams, if I can't have it, neither can they. Studies show chronic negativity like this erodes happiness faster than acid rain on marble. It spikes cortisol, tanks serotonin, leaves you a husk raging at shadows. Yet here they are, doubling down on the delusion, because admitting the Sussexes are thriving. That would mean confronting their own stagnation. Harry's built a life beyond the palace walls, veterans advocacy, mental health crusades, a family unscarred by the firm's frost. Meghan Sussex, she's a force entrepreneur, philanthropist, the kind of woman who turns Duchess into a verb for empowerment. Together they're rewriting the rules, and it terrifies the traditionalists who cling to fairy tales of dutiful drones. Twist the narrative all you want, derangers, but the scorecard doesn't lie. The Dodgers won that night, fittingly, with a walk-off homer that left the haters striking out. Harry and Meghan Sussex walked away unscathed, their laughter echoing louder than any fabricated boo. And you? Still swinging at air, bases loaded with bitterness. It's time to retire the act. Step up to the plate of self-reflection, or better yet, touch grass. Buy a ticket to your own life, root for something real. Because this obsession, it's not just absurd, it's a slow suicide by spite. The Sussexes are playing the long game, winning, by the way, while you're stuck in the dugout, jeering at ghosts. The great Sussex baseball betrayal, more like the derangers' self-inflicted faceplant, laughable, lamentable, and long overdue for the Hall of Shame. Let Harry and Meghan Sussex breathe, for God's sake. Hell, let them thrive. The world's big enough for winners and whiners. Pick your poison.